Today I'll be responding to Eli Mayer'S tier list. It had a few whack placements in it, and I feel like I should comment on it. Please go watch his tier list as well. I'll have a link of it in the description, but he put a ton of effort into it, and it deserves more attention. With that out of the way, let's get started. Probably the take I have the biggest disagreement is his Paris tape. I don't despise it, but I just have a lot of disagreements with it. I feel like Eli doesn't do a great job explaining why they are so high, other than they are on low ping. Will absolutely be above, but the league is just so competitive now, with insanely talented rookies and upgrades every team has made. And Paris just sat out and only made one roster move and downgraded their coaching staff, in my opinion. But just comparing their roster to some others, on paper, they aren't that stacked. Is their tank line really better than Atlanta's, who have a roll-star level off tank and a really strong main tank? Are their DPS better than Atlanta's, who have the second best Western Flex DPS in Narrow and a top 5 hitscan and Kai? Is their support line really better than Atlanta's, who have top prospects who've had hype dating back to 2019? Just going pound for pound, I think Atlanta, Boston, Vancouver, Hangzhou, Guangzhou, and arguably Valiant are higher than them. I do want Paris to succeed, but I can't imagine them being close to a team like Atlanta or Hangzhou, who have very elite rosters. Plus, Paris has made almost no upgrades to their roster other than Glister, and if anything, they downgraded their coaching staff. Yes, they surpassed expectations, but were overall pretty mediocre last year. Half their wins came from Vancouver and London, and one when Washington was under cuckoo juice and benching decay. I don't know if the ping difference can really match the huge upgrades teams in their tier last year made, like Toronto, Boston, Vancouver all did. The next I disagree with heavily is Toronto Defiant being above San Francisco and Chengdu. Houston as well, to an extent. Firstly, I think he overrates the tanks. I don't think Muse was top tier in anything but Wrecking Ball. He was above average on other heroes at best. I don't think he was a top 5 Orisa. Just looking at the teams below him, Gator, Super, Gaga, arguably Ryu, and Kellen already have it. And not to mention Smurf and Fade on the teams above him. He's in top 5 on her or any of the other heroes other than Hammond, and I don't think his Ryan was top half. Ryan is good. He's very consistent and he won't lose you games, but compared to Gaga and Super, I don't think he stacks up. Hotpa is definitely interesting though. I think his playstyle will work well in Overwatch 2. Now that he's working with a guy who managed to keep Bumper alive, I think he should be able to be good. Secondly, one thing people always say about Shock's support line is that they don't have a main support. But they forget that Violet has always been the big player for the Shock, even with Moth, and he's very good at it. I don't think Violet, Finn, and Yvel till Monk are that far behind Twilight Chorong in a Brig Flex support meta. Both Shock and Chengdu overtake them in a double Flex meta. I think people underrate Violet. He was pushing top 5 flex supports last year. I take him over Twilight, Iris, maybe Monk and Jajonak as well. Then the DPS diffs come in hard. I genuinely think Leva Preda is up there with Profits and Flip. Leva is arguably the best individual DPS player in the league, and Preda is absurdly good. I'd probably take him over Hisu. The Shock is probably better than Kilo, but Proper is better than Although on everything by a lot, and honestly, better than Hisu on the hard hit scan. And Sam was significantly better than Finale and Contenders. Also, saying Shock's coaching staff is pretty good is the understatement of the century. I think Krusty and 9K are probably the best coaching staff in the league. Overall, I think he overrates Muse and the DPS a bit and downplays members of the Shock especially. I also disagree with putting Houston above those two, but I've already talked about that before, so I won't go into a huge tangent again. Then I won't speak of Seoul since that's likely changed. Then again, I think he's low on the Rain in Hangzhou. Talent-wise, I'd say Hangzhou is upper half in the league, as well as Atlanta. Losing Honor as a hit, Sephi obviously had a huge role in this last season, and attributing that difference to merely Unter is downplaying him a bit. Then talent-wise, they are really strong. Kai, Gator, and Hawk are all really strong players, and I think Hawk will adjust to Overwatch 2 particularly well. Venom is a dark horse for an upper half Tracer player in the league, and their support line are NA prodigies that have been hyped since 2019. I don't think you can have a discussion about the history of a team towards this team and also not apply the standards to Toronto, which you have very high. They have consistently fielded a pretty hype roster outside of maybe 2020, but have always been mediocre. And poor Hangzhou, all the way down to 16, despite having such a good roster. The best main support in 2020, and easily an upgrade over IDK. A bottom half but still cracked flex support. An absurdly good rookie in Alpha E who is a predator in my opinion. Maybe not, he's a bit lower. And a top 5 hit scan in the league, Shy. This team is stacked, and I feel he underplays Alpha E, Pineapple, and Super Eric especially. Then some other things I disagree with. Eli says that the Valiant are gambling on young talent, but Dia, Coldest, Lengsa, and now Assassin have been around for years, while Innovation and Becky are strong rookies. I also don't like how he writes off the support line as weak when Lynx has been pounding all year in contenders, and Coldis was absurdly good in 2019. I think there's a bit of double standards between the Shock and Outlaws as well. No main support for the Shock is a huge issue, but not having one for the Outlaws, he simply writes off. That's not a big issue. I don't really see the logic there, when Violet has much more experience on the Brig than either Iris or Lastro. Anyway, overall solid list. I think he did the Shock, Hunter's Reign, and Spark dirty, and overrates Paris, Toronto, and Houston a bit. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more. I upload nearly daily Overwatch League content, and I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs by Season 5, so any subscription helps greatly. Thanks.